Well, welcome everybody. Good to see you, and we thought we'd kind of take a look at the 19th century through song, and the various aspects of it, because as far as I'm concerned, no century that I can think of changed so much from beginning to end. And by the time the 19th century was done, everything that we have was there, pretty much. It's just a matter of refinement. So one of the big things that happened in this country, and Somersworth probably in particular, was the industrialization. Turned from a rural economy, and small mills got to be bigger mills, and eventually, we got Main Street down there. So we'll do one here. It's called Paganol, and it kind of addresses certain things that concern people, and it's about shoes. And we all know that this neck of the woods was a tremendous shoe producer. Matter of fact, I moved up here in 1976, and it was sort of in its death throes, by then. But you could see how every corner, it seemed, had a shoe shop on there. Lots of people working. So anyway, it's called Paganol. It goes like this. We in tune?
And sing with us. You're very welcome to sing. This is not hard to do.
In the year of 1801, Paganol. In the year of 1801, oh Paganol. In the year of 1801, pagan shoes is all I done. Hand me down my peg, my all, my Paganol. In the year of 1802, Paganol. In the year of 1802, oh Paganol. In the year of 1802, pagan shoes is all I do. Hand me down my peg, my all, my Paganol. They've invented a new machine, Paganol. They've invented a new machine, oh Paganol. They've invented a new machine, it's the prettiest little thing you've ever seen. Hand me down my peg, my all, my Paganol. In the year of 1803, Paganol. In the year of 1803, oh Paganol. In the year of 1803, new machines replacing me. Hand me down my peg, my all, my Paganol. In the year of 1804, Paganol. In the year of 1804, oh Paganol. In the year of 1804, pagan shoes I do no more. Hand me down my peg, my all, my Paganol. Here we go. I went on this website, a discussion group about this particular song, and they were arguing over whether the singer was happy or sad, I mean, he's out of a job, but he doesn't have to take shoes anymore, so who knows? But the industrial, it kept on, and then later in the century, it really spread. And
this is I grew up in North Carolina, and my mother worked in a hosiery mill. And so, of course, I grew up in that time when the industry, the mills had moved south. But when I came up here, I learned this whole mill story that, of course, Summersworth, as you all know so much about, is so much a part of. I learned about Lowell and the mill girls of Lowell, and about how these girls came from these New Hampshire farm families when things were poor, and to come and work in these mills, and then the Irish, and then later the people from Canada came to work in the mills. And so this is a song about that.
it's about that. It takes the song it's not a 19th century song, but it's about the early part of the 20th century and how the people from the hills and the valleys and so forth would be sucked into working in the mill. They'd leave their farms and so forth. It's called Cotton Mill Girls.
And the chorus is hard times cotton mill
that's right.
girls,
Sing along.
hard times cotton mill girls, hard times cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. So if you will, sing with us.
Easy as pie. Are we in tune there, I think?
G right there.
Banjo's always an iffy prospect, I think so. All right. Goes like this. I worked in the cotton mill all my life, ain't got nothing but a Barlow knife. It's hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. Hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. 1915, we heard it said you moved to cotton country and you get ahead. It's hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. Hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. Bartow's a long, long way from Carnegie down LJ. It's hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. Hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times, cotton mill girls, hard times everyone. Don't bury me at all, just hang me up on the spinning room wall. Pickle my bones in alcohol. It's hard times everyone. Hard times, cotton mill girls. Hard times, cotton mill girls. Hard times, cotton mill girls. Hard times everyone. Hard times, cotton mill girls. Hard times, cotton mill girls. Hard times, cotton mill girls. Hard times everyone. So while I grab the guitar, Carolyn's going to talk a little bit about
I have to see which one I'm talking about.
Holy Man.
Holy Man. So in the next couple of songs we're going to sing are gospel songs. That in the one of the things that was happening in the early 19th century was also the second Great Awakening. The first Great Awakening happened here in New England with the Puritan preachers, but the second Great Awakening partly came when John Wesley came over from England, and so there was a lot of a lot of churches being formed and hymn books being written. People were having song societies where they were put in the factories. Song masters would come around and teach people to sing. And they sort of called a tonic sol-fa kind of method, and they would have these choirs in the factories. And and gospel music, people really singing in church with hymn books really began to take off a little bit more with this Second Great Awakening. So we've got a couple of 19th century gospel songs for you, and this is called?
It's called Holy Manna. And it is the kind of thing that you might find on a Sunday morning in some church somewhere out in the backwoods, people singing. It goes like this. Brethren, we have met to worship and adore the Lord our God. Will you pray with all your power? I'll we try to preach the word. All is vain unless the Spirit of the Holy One come down. Brethren, pray and holy manna will be showered all around. Brethren, see poor sinners around you, slumbering on the brink of woe. Death is coming, hell is moving, can you bear to see them go? All is vain unless the Spirit of the Holy One come down. Brethren, pray and holy manna will be showered all around. Let us love our God supremely. Let us love each other too. Let us love and pray for sinners till our God makes all things new. All is vain unless the Spirit of the Holy One come down. Brethren, pray and holy manna will be showered all around. All is vain unless the Spirit of the Holy One come down. Brethren, pray and holy manna will be showered all around.
Thank you. I think this was about the time that there were all the Baptist churches, for example, that are in the area were probably mostly founded in this area in the 1800s rather than the 1600s, of course. And so this is a song they may have sung. There's another one.
There's another one. This is This is more a southern mountain kind of sound, the way the voices interact. And it's called Gonna Sail Away Home. And there's no musical break, so we'll just plunge right into it. Ready?
Yeah.
When Christ my Lord shall call for me across the deep and mystic sea, I'm going
sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away, sail away, sail away.
Because my treasures are all there in that eternal city fair. I'm going
sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away
home. I'm gonna sail away home, but Jordan gonna fly wide, gonna fly high, gonna sail myself to that country where the saints will never die. We'll never die. We'll never die. I'm gonna leave this world below behind me. Gonna say, death, where is thy sting? Gonna sail away like a bird from prison for see my blessed King, to see my King, to see my King. Thank God my soul is heaven bound, and from that shore I'll catch the sound. I'm going sail away, sail away,
sail away, sail away.
Join that ransom choir above and sing of His eternal love. I'm going
sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away home. I'm gonna sail away home, but Jordan gonna fly wide, gonna fly high, gonna sail myself to that country where the saints will never die. We'll never die. We'll never die. I'm gonna leave this world below behind me. Gonna say, death, where is thy sting? Gonna sail away like a bird from prison for to see my blessed King, to see my King, to see my King. I'll be no stranger there, you see, for Jesus waits to welcome me. I'm going
Sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away,
sail away, sail away, sail away.
And when my toiling here is done, the race with patience I have won. I'm going sail away, sail away home. I'm gonna sail away home, but Jordan gonna fly wide, gonna fly high, gonna sail myself to that country where the saints will never die. We'll never die. We'll never die. I'm gonna leave this world below behind me. Gonna say, death, where is thy sting? Gonna sail away like a bird from prison for see my blessed King, to see my King, to see my King. Where's the set list here? We gotta...
So we're
we're okay.
we're moving to one of the most influential songwriters of the 19th century. Who would you say? Think of us. Yes.
Stephen Foster.
Yes, Stephen Foster. But such a popular, well-loved songwriter and sang songs. Some people say, oh, he just sort of cranked out all these songs, but he really seemed to have his, to kind of understand the pulse of America, that he really seemed to sing these songs of loss and sorrow, and most of them are, and happiness, but always with a little bit of a sadness. And so many American songs, if you think about it, are about leaving in some way. And I wonder why that is. Maybe because we're such a transient society. We've always been a place that has started in one place and gone somewhere else. And so every time you go somewhere, you say goodbye. So I just wonder even how many of these songs we sing, or how many folk songs you know are about saying goodbye somewhere.
And this one kind of is.
This one's Oh Susanna.
Oh, Susanna. And I'll bet you everybody knows that.
So please sing it with us.
I mean, when when I was a kid in school, we sang stuff like this, you know, right? I don't know what they sing now, but we got the full Americana songbook when I was a child. All right, here we go. Oh, Susanna.
Do sing with us.
Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee.
I saw Susanna coming up the hill. The old hoe cake was in her mouth, the tear was in her eye. I said, I'm coming from the south, Susanna, don't you cry.
Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee.
Gonna do the chorus one more time.
Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee.
Good singing. So just continuing with Stephen Foster songs. This other one is another kind of song about leaving and sadness, and it's My Old Kentucky Home, which is another thing to think about when we think about American folk songs. How many songs do you know, whether it's a folk song or just any American song that has a place name in it? Does anyone want to name one? A song with a place name, a state, a city,
You mean from the 19th century?
or any century.
Colorado, Rocky Mountain High.
Well, there
Rocky
you go,
Mountain High,
okay.
exactly, yeah.
Country
Oh,
Road.
Country roads,
Oh, Atlanta.
John Denver songs,
Oh, Atlanta.
Oh Atlanta. So why is that our songs are all about places?
I think is it nostalgia, like missing the place?
Missing the place. So this is My Old Kentucky Home, which I believe is the state's. Anybody from Kentucky here? Which is the state's
I
song?
think it is, yep.
I know someone from Kentucky.
You're from Kentucky?
No, I know someone.
Oh, okay.
from Kentucky.
We in tune here? I think we are. Good enough. Weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. For the sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home, my old said, old Stephen there, he wrote and wrote and wrote.
And this is another one that has the word hard times in it.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me about the end of his life. Does anybody know what happened to him at the end of his life?
He died drunk and broke in a boarding house, you know, like a lot of songwriters do, musicians.
Yeah, so-
Nothing much has changed. But he wrote everything. He wrote for the minstrel show business. He wrote sentimental songs, and in this particular case, I would almost call this a protest song. Really, you know, it's called "Hard Times Come
Hard
Again
time.
No More."
So sing this with us. There were and he also there was so much sheet music sold that Stephen Foster wrote. People in their this was a time when people played the piano in the parlor. Does anybody have a pump organ or a piano from the 19th century, like in your house? But this was a time when pump organs were so well loved and popular, and people loved playing. There were songbooks, Stephen Foster songbooks that people would get for their pump organs.
Yes, and instead of records and so forth, that's how the culture kind of spread a little bit. It was the sheet music. I remember my grandmother was not a very good piano player, but the piano bench was loaded with the sheet music from, you know, the turn of the century, whenever she was a young gal. So this is called "Hard Times Come Again No More." You know, kind of hope for that. Let me get this a little louder. There we go. Let us pause in life pleasures and count many tears, while we all serve sorrow. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song that sighs the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered outside my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music bright and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. While their voices are silent, their pleading looks to say, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song that sighs the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered outside the cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale, drooping beauty who toils her life away with a worn heart who plays our role. Though her voice would be merry, 'tis sighing all the day. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song that sighs the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered come to the Civil War, which was about mid-century, a little later than half mid-century, but was certainly in this country the defining moment, I would say. And we have several songs about that particular adventure. Johnny Gone for Soldier.
And so the first one we'd like to do is a song that was also sung during the Revolutionary War, during the American Revolution. A song called Johnny's Gone for a Soldier. But it continued to be sung in the Civil War, and then really in some ways, I think you could say that Where Have All the Flowers Gone, in the 60s is a sort of reiteration of that song too, just that longing of a girl whose loved one has gone to war and may not come home again. So it's called Buttermilk Hill.
Tenting Tonight.
These songs get a little sadder. Well, they can't get really sadder than that, but I was just reading about this next song we're going to sing called We're Tenting Tonight. Do you know this song? And this song was written here in New Hampshire and sung by a family called the Hutchinson Family Singers. And the Hutchinson Family Singers were a group who lived in Milford, New Hampshire, and I just forgot his name. And the man who, his name was William Kittredge. William Kittredge lived in was born in Merrimack, New Hampshire, and he and the Hutchinson family were three men and their sister, so three men and a woman. And they, if you can kind of think about them as being the sort of Woody Guthrie or even Bob Dylan of the 19th century, they wrote songs and they performed all over New Hampshire, and they ended up going in Massachusetts, and they ended up going to Europe on tour also. But they were really, they started out just doing entertainment, but they pretty soon began to sing protest songs. They were staunch abolitionists, and they began to sing songs about abolition, and they began to sing songs later about women's suffrage and about the labor movement. So they were real sort of social activists some of our first social activists in the 1840s through the 1870s. They were the Hutchinson family, and this song they sang called Tenting Tonight, We're Tenting Tonight, was really adopted by both the North and the South as just and I was just reading that the songs began to really sort of change in their fervor, change from like Battle Hymn of the Republic, which were about we're marching and we're going to fight and we're fighting, to we're tired of war. And this is one of those we're tired of war kinds of songs called We're Tenting Tonight. So the chorus goes tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. So please
Simplicity Plus.
Sing this
right?
New Hampshire song with us. Thank you. That last song we sang, it's called Buttermilk Hill.
Buttermilk?
Buttermilk Hill.
Thank you.
Yeah. or Johnny's Gone for a Soldier. It's got two names.
Ready?
Yep. We're tenting tonight on the old campground. Give us a song to cheer our weary hearts, a song of home and friends we love so dear. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, waiting for the war to cease. Many are the hearts looking for the right to see the dawn of peace.
Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground.
We're dying tonight on the old campground. Many don't. Many are dying, many are dead, and many cry for home. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, waiting for the war to cease. Many are the hearts looking for the right to see the dawn of peace.
Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground.
I'm going to sing that verse again if you want to sing with me. Tenting tonight on the old campground. Give us a song to cheer our weary hearts, a song of home and friends we love so dear. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, waiting for the war to cease. Many are the hearts looking for the right to see the dawn of peace.
Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground.
Thank you. There was a really wonderful display about the Hutchinson family singers at the Concord Historical Museum. So, and I think it's probably still there. So if that family, if you're interested in learning more about this New Hampshire family, yeah, there was a really great exhibit of a lot of their sheet music and the stories about their life.
Well, it's banjo time. And unfortunately, from time to time, you have to retune the thing. And if I'm lucky, we're all lucky, it'll happen quickly. Almost.
Doing Home Sweet Home.
No. Oh yeah, Home Sweet Home. I forgot all about that. Okay, let me tune it back up again.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay.
All right, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. we'll do, I don't know how I let that one slip my mind.
It's all right. But
Hold on.
I should ask you about the time. We don't want to go over what.
We're looking at 6:30, so about 15.
Okay, so about 15 more minutes. That's perfect.
All right, just in time. Get the banjo in tune. It doesn't like the winter, by the way. This thing was, this banjo was made about 1900, and I've had it myself since 1974, and it's never liked the winter, like me. All right,
Going across.
going across the mountain.
So while it continues with the banjo, I can say that this is a song that was not written in the 19th century, but it was written about the Civil War, about something that really happened.
Yeah.
And you want to,
Yeah.
you two, you can tell that story.
You know, I think when we're all in school and we're learning about the Civil War, you know, at least I was taught a very simplistic version. You know, you got the North, you got the South, and never the twain shall meet. And it's not like that in real life. And down in, there's a little corner of this country where North Carolina and Tennessee, they all kind of meet. It's in the deep mountains. And a lot of the people down there, they were not big plantation owners. They had no stake in slavery whatsoever. And a lot of them were Scots-Irish, and they had fought for the Union, the Revolution. And they weren't about to change. And this is a song about one of those soldiers whose conscience wouldn't let him fight for the Confederacy. So he had to leave his family and friends and community, trudge over the mountain to join the boys in blue. And this is called Going Across the Mountain. Ready? I think we're ready. Thank you. Should I retune up to A? Home Sweet Home?
If you want to.
Why not?
Sure.
Okay, you bet.
So, and I know that Paul has a story about this, so I don't know if you can you talk into the same
Kind
time?
of. Well, I can chew gum and talk.
I
I'm not sure
can't.
about tuning the banjo. Let me just get this.
It's another Stephen Foster tune, I believe.
No, he didn't
I'm
write
wrong
this.
about this. Okay.
But like we talked about the sheet music, you know, and that's how the culture spread. So you had men and boys on both sides of the line, and they kind of knew the same tunes. And so there's a tale told, and I've got to believe it's true, that at some point you have the two lines facing off against each other. It's nighttime. And so one of the regimental bands starts playing this song, and it's Home Sweet Home, kind of a sentimental sort of thing. And they played it, and then on the other side of the line, I don't know who started it, the Confederates or the Union, but the other side's band started to play it. And all up and down, and then, you know, the band next to them started playing it, and the band up there started playing it. And so eventually, if you can picture this, Petersburg or somewhere, you know, this huge battlefield with trenches and all that sort of thing. And both sides are sitting there wishing they were home. And so this is Home Sweet Home. We're not going to sing it, it's just an instrumental, but give you an idea.
But if you want to sing it.
Last time. Now I'm going to retune again, so bear with me.
That's right, I've got to see what you're retuning for.
Now there are a lot of banjos that have hide heads. This happens to be plastic, thank God. But a hide head, you know, you can imagine a hot, humid day, it's just going to be, and then a dry, cold day, it's going to be so tight it's probably going to crack. So, all of which makes playing this instrument so much fun.
So while they tunes, I can say that, you know, so what else happened in the 19th century? There's the Civil War, the emancipation of slaves, there was the Industrial Revolution. What else happened?
Women's suffrage. Right.
Women's suffrage happened. What else?
Light bulb was invented.
Light bulb was invented.
Telephone.
All these inventions came. The Industrial Revolution just took off, as Paul was saying. And there was the railroad, of course, that sent people out west. And of course, one of the reasons I understand that these women and the girls in New Hampshire had to come and work in the mills is that the farming, the area was really over-farmed. The soil wasn't all that fertile in New Hampshire, and so once there was a railroad and the opportunity to go out west, where there was fertile land, so many of these farms were abandoned, and Hampshire had a real economic decline, and the mills were kind of the next things, from what I understand. Some of you historians could correct me about that. But the next little group of songs we're going to do are about going out west.
On the railroad, yes, and you know, the railroads, the building thereof, you know, it spawned all kinds of legends and people, and probably the greatest of them all was John Henry, you know, a mythical man, but probably based on real life. And there's a million ways of playing it, and this is just our way. Tells the tale of the steel driving man. Ready?
Go ahead.
Well, John Henry was a steel driving man. He drove steel all over the land. And he said, boy, I'll let that old steel drill drive me down. I'll die with my hammer in my hand, Lord, Lord. Die with my hammer in my hand. Now the man that made that old steel drill, he thought was mighty fine. But John Henry drove down 14 feet while the steel drill only made it 9. Lord, Lord. Steel drill only made it 9. John Henry's captain, he sit down on a rock. They think that tunnel's falling in. Then John Henry smiled at his captain and he said, now, boss, that's my hammer sucking wind. Lord, Lord. Boss, that's my hammer sucking wind. John Henry has a sweet little one. Her name is Polly Ann. And when John Henry's sick and lay down on his bed, well, Polly drove the steel like a man, Lord, Lord. Polly drove the steel like a man. John Henry hammered in that mountainside till his hammer caught on fire. And the last word that poor John Henry said, give me a cool drink of water before I die, Lord, Lord. Cool drink of water before I die. Well, they took John Henry to the graveyard, 6 feet under the land. And every time a freight train come rolling on by, they say, yonder lies a steel driving man, Lord, Lord. Yonder lies a steel driving man. Here we go. John Henry. How are we doing on
I
time?
think we've got probably time for one more.
One more,
to close
okay.
with.
Well then,
So,
go ahead.
so we're going to close with an old song that we're hoping you all know, just a sweet old song called Red River Valley. And this is a song that apparently there are 2 Red River Valleys, and one kind of a northern one that goes up into Canada, and a southern one. And we think that this northern one, that this is where the song comes from. But for many years I have taught English as a second language to immigrant communities. And every time I have a group of people from China, everybody in China knows this song. And so I have a theory, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm wondering, because you know that China had so much to do with the building of the railroad, that the Transcontinental Railroad, if it were not for the people from China building it in from the west, that just wouldn't have happened. And so many people from China could not go home ever after that. They were promised money they never got, and they couldn't go home. And that's why we have Chinatowns around, especially in San Francisco. But I wonder if this song was around, and if the song got back to China somehow, because I've asked students, where did you learn this? And they'll say, I don't know. You know, my grandmother knew it, or somebody way back knew it. So I just wonder, you know, what happened with that song and how it's traveled. So we're going to sing the first verse and the chorus, and then the first verse and the chorus again. So please sing with us.
And without the railroads, of course, you wouldn't have the cattle drives.
Yeah.
And the whole settling of the West was certainly speeded up because of, you just hop on a train and whoop, you're out there in Iowa.
So we decided on C sharp, right?
Yeah. Ready?
Yes.
Just on time, okay. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. Just remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy who loved you so true. Everybody, come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu. Just remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy that loved you so true. Just remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy that loved you so true. Just a quick take on the 19th century, you know.
Very good.
But thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very enjoyable.
Thank you. And I know there's gingerbread.
What's that?
I said, did you want me to announce the gingerbread?
Oh, sure.
So,
Rebecca.
has made gingerbread, 19th century
Yeah,
gingerbread.
yeah.
I've sampled it. It's amazing. So it's
Please
what-
help yourself.
And thank you again for listening and being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.